So I want to start this by asking you to remember the Emoji Movie. Now, this is not
Do I need to?
name. It's not a name I invoke lightly, I'm afraid. The Emoji Movie went into production the same week that Inside Out was released in the United States. And I think in the case of that film, it was very, very clear that what was said, how this was pitched, was, look, this is how Pixar did it. It's working very well. Rave reviews, audiences love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story about coming of age, and it's interpreted through these standalone emotions all interacting with each other in this fantastical landscape. Look, here's a licensed property. We can do this too. And then everyone saw the film and said, no, you can't. Playmobil The Movie went into production very soon after the release of the Lego Movie in 2014.
Yeah.
It's had actually a very, very long development time, which we'll come to in a moment. And again, it's this sense that, okay, so look, this film has been very well reviewed. Audiences are basically turning out to see this tribute to like a venerable European toy brand.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nitrocharging generations of ambient goodwill around the product and saying, okay, you remember this from childhood. You remember it possibly for buying it for your own children. And you remember the fun that you've had with it. And now, look, we're going to give you a 90-minute blast of what this fun is like to experience. And you're going to be basically sold on this product for life. Now, it's impossible, I think, to sit in a screening of the Lego Movie and not want to start playing with Lego. And the reason that is that film identifies, and this is the genius of what Phil Lord and Christopher Miller did with this, is that they worked out precisely what it was that made Lego different from any other toy. And that is that there's a tension inherent in the product between following the instructions and the satisfaction of seeing things work out exactly as they are in the box, and just building freestyle and coming up with these hilarious contraptions and environments that are just absurd and silly and comedic from your own imagination and having that satisfaction too. That's what the plot of the film is. That's what a lot of the visual humour in the film is. And eventually that's what the emotional impact of the film is in that amazing live action sequence with Will Ferrell towards the end. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. Sorry, everyone's seen the Lego Movie. It doesn't matter.
Spaceship! Okay.
Now, in order for Playmobil the Movie to have worked, they would have had to have sat down and said, look, we need to identify what it is about Playmobil that makes that toy unique and that will remind people of how much fun they had playing with it when they were kids, remind people of why they love seeing their kids play with it and make them want to pick it up now. What they have done instead is the Lego Movie with their toy instead of that toy. And it does not work. It makes no sense whatsoever. It actually starts in live action. It has a live action prologue rather than a live action epilogue, where Anya Taylor-Joy, who's absolutely terrific in The Witch, which is a film that could not be more distant from the Playmobil Movie, and her little brother, whose name is Gabriel Bateman, played by an actor called Gabriel Bateman. They are, in that incredibly lazy family movie way, orphaned by a car crash in the opening 5 minutes. Basically, they sing a very happy song together, and then there's a knock at the door. Your parents are dead, sorry. So their life her plans to travel the world and have a really exciting time of it all evaporate. She has to stay at home now and look after her little brother. They then, years later, go off on this midnight sneak around a toy fair in the middle of the city and are, for inexplicable reasons, beamed into the Playmobil diorama, where they find that they have been transformed into tiny, 3-inch Playmobil figures on this Playmobil landscape, ready to interact with the full range of Playmobil products in stores now. Here's a clip.
Whoa. Easy, tough guy. Just looking for my brother.
Marla, it's me. You look weird. Where are we? What's going on?
Charlie?
Yeah, Marla?
You're not you.
I know. I feel different.
Yeah, you look different. You have a beard.
I do.
And tattoos.
Tattoos? Cool.
What's happening?
The lighthouse, the Vikings, all of it. It's real. We're actually here.
Two things about this are immediately terrible. Okay, so first of all, you have
really didn't like it.
They land. I loathe this. This is why I mentioned the Emoji Movie. I felt guilty as a parent for taking my kids to see this film.
Whoa!
It was a case of if I hadn't been there to review, we would have been off ski.
What did they think?
They didn't like it, but they sing the songs in it to annoy me. So they not only did they realise it was bad, they realised how to weaponize it, which is, again, parents be warned. But so you have, when they arrive as Playmobil figures, the younger brother is this strapping Viking with Asterix-style super strength.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy is this kind of standard issue mumsy figure, which makes me think that possibly a previous iteration of this film, which has taken so long to develop for, next to no valuable result,
Yeah.
had the kid and his mother being beamed into the Playmobil world, because she just looks nothing like Anya Taylor-Joy. It's just a kind of standard Playmobil mum figure with a cardigan, kind of bob cut hair, and walking around with a handbag half the time.
To be fair, Charlie doesn't look like Charlie. He's a Viking.
No, but that's what I mean. The kid gets to do this incredibly exciting,
Adventure.
live out his adventures in the Playmobil way. But the daughter doesn't get to do that
She
whatsoever.
could have been a dragon, for goodness sake.
Secondly, if you remember back, and I know I keep on referring to the Lego Movie, but there's no way to understand how bad this film is without understanding why the Lego Movie works. The way in which the characters moved in the Lego Movie, it looked like stop motion animated Lego. Very, very deliberate decision, even to the extent that there were digital fingerprints stuck on the characters to make it look like they were being manipulated by hand. This is, you're sitting in the cinema, you want to start playing with these toys as well. The animation in this, the characters do not look like plastic. They don't even look that much like Playmobil characters. They just look like dodgy, low-rent character models. They don't move like Playmobil characters, with the exception of that gag at the start of the clip where she's saying, wow, don't my legs move in such a strange way? Hey, look at these arms, up and down like this. Isn't that going to be awkward for moving around this world? And then they just abandon that visual conceit entirely, and then they're just walking around completely normally for the rest of the film. So they don't have that confidence in the material itself to bear that out into visual gags. You also have some star cameos which go crazily wrong. Daniel Radcliffe turns up as the voice of... Now, this is, again, Daniel Radcliffe, someone who actually in real life looks like a Playmobil toy. But in this, he doesn't... But he does.
Oh, Robbie.
I mean, not in a bad way, but he has the smiley little face and the eyes and everything. But in this, he's playing this Playmobil secret agent called Rex Dasher. I don't remember Playmobil having secret agents. It was all hospital workers.
Airplanes.
So Playmobil divided into historical toys on one side and public sector toys on the other. Secret agent? No. Jim Gaffigan is playing this guy who runs a food truck? No. There's an excursion into outer space with this Jabba the Hutt style creature? No. Meghan Trainor pops up as a fairy godmother? No. None of these were Playmobil lines that I recall. Maybe they are now.
Did you ever play with Playmobil?
Yeah, extensively. I remember one Christmas I got the operating theatre. This is kind of a place of personal pain. Stop laughing.
Really upset by
the Playmobil operating theatre. My brother got the Playmobil ward, and there was this amazing sense of collaboration. We're running a little hospital together between us. It's not funny. And the film just doesn't grasp any of that at all. We should also mention the songs, which, I mean, my word, basically every so often I was dreading these. This terrible sort of rhythmic thing would start up, and then one of the characters will start yelling incomprehensibly over the top of the rhythm. They'll kind of get halfway through the chorus and then just abandon it for no reason. So
these original songs?
I mean, yes.
They're kind of everything is awesome type thing.
Technically, yes, they are.
Okay.
But they are incredibly uncatchy and just drive me round the twist. As I say, I felt disappointed to have taken my kids to it.
I can tell how disappointed you are. I think everybody
you're
can,
just
to be honest.
planting your kids in front of an advert for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, watching it, I mean, it felt like being kicked through Toys R Us. That's the best way I can describe it. It was just horrific.